So my name is Paul Prendergast. I'm CEO of Blink. A couple of things I want to talk to you about today. It's actually not 2 years. We founded the company last October. Two main themes, really. What Blink was all about, why we wanted to create Blink, number one. And I'm just going to see if I can work this properly. Yay, fantastic. So we wanted to build a data-driven insurance company. Our last company that we sold out of last summer, a whole 15 months ago, we were one of the early guys in security, mobile security. We worked with a lot of insurance companies. And we saw a lot of very interesting insurance programs, so we wanted to see if we could change some aspects of insurance. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to build an insurance product with no excesses, no exclusions, and no claims process. And we keep on saying we were too dumb to know that we couldn't do it. So we were that inexperienced, which was actually a good thing. So we started and we said, okay, the only way we could do this is take a piece of data and build a product around that. So, and we wanted, instead of going out with that as a concept, we wanted to build a first real product and that people could get their head around. And that was a really simple flight cancellation, flight interruption product. We picked that for a couple of reasons. We picked that for a couple of reasons. One, travel insurance is bigger than digital music. It's $15 billion a year, and there's been no innovation for 20 years. Phenomenal size market. Secondly, travel itself online is huge. So, our job as innovators is to plug into things that are already built. So we started the business probably about middle of October 2016. First pieces of the puzzle, all my old insurance contacts said, don't talk to the regulator, launch your product, hide, and they might never know you're there. So we did the exact opposite, and we rang up the regulator. Luckily, they had just started the Sandbox program. We were the only insurtech, I believe, involved in the first cohort. So we had a very strong relationship with those guys. Secondly, we were one of the early guys partnering with Munich Re Digital Partners, and we partnered with those guys. So that was in November. So in November, we had Munich Re and the FCA on board, which was very exciting. And we did that before we started doing all the fun stuff of building a product. So how the product actually works, and any rumor that Michael O'Leary, my good Irish buddy, has done all this cancellation to improve our business is not true. But you're flying from London to New York, and your flight's cancelled. We track it proactively. We tell you, John, your flight's cancelled. And instead of doing the typical thing of start your claims process or we'll give you a check in 2 weeks' time, nobody wants that. I need to get to the wedding, the meeting, whatever, so we want to resolve it in real time. And because we're building it around a piece of data, we can do that. So we give you options to get to New York. You tell us which one you want. We book it, we pay for it, and off you go. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's incredibly narrow, but we went out with a real MVP product. So that's enough about the product. Things went pretty quickly for us. So we had the product pretty much built, and we were going through regulatory stuff, and CPP bought us on the day before Patrick's Day. So we obviously had a fantastic Paddy's Day this year. And Sid's going to talk about why. So that was a real interesting fork in the road for us. Lots of interest from investors, or do we partner with somebody? It was from a financial point of view, very strong for us, and we're working with the guys really strongly over the next couple of years. So it's been a really interesting journey, a very short journey. We're really committed to the next 3 to 5 years with CPP Group to build out lots of different products based around the data-driven approach. So that's the Blink story, and some people might have heard that already, but the really interesting part for me is what's happened 6 months in. So most startup buddies, and I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, startups said, the minute you go into corporate land, you're going to get suffocated, all the innovation is going to stop, it's going to be a nightmare, and you guys will be gone by Christmas. So happy to report the exact opposite is there, and things are very interesting. We're working very well, and the term that I use, and I see a lot of large insurance companies buying an innovation toy. So they buy an innovation toy, they make an announcement, they have it here, and then when the real business is talked about, they put the toy back in the toy box, and they just keep on doing what they're always doing. So our job is to be central to CPP's business. So why CPP? CPP is a really interesting company in that it's really an Asian organization. They do a huge amount of business in India, China, emerging markets, Turkey, Mexico, working with a really interesting distribution model. So that was very, very exciting for us. They're a publicly quoted company, gives you a lot of credibility. And I know the guys for about 5 or 6 years. So that's why we picked CPP, and they're going through massive, massive change. And I think for any startup looking at being acquired, the culture, and we looked at what they were actually doing in their organization apart from us, and we said, okay, these guys are committed to massive change, and this is where we can fit in and we can make an impact. So I'm going to hand over to Sid. Sid's product director of CPP, and he can actually tell you the truth that we're an actual pain in the ass to work with, but I'll hand over to Sid, and then I'll come back and finish off in a tick.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. So the reason we acquired Blink was initially we heard about the product that Paul's described, the flight cancellation product. And we're blown away by the opportunities to potentially create a really large disruptive insurance business within our organization and then leverage our distribution routes in Asia and South America to do something which is really different, a service-based insurance product, which fits into the ethos of our organization. As soon as I've worked with Paul on a number of occasions over the last few years, so we knew the people. That was a big help in our decision-making process. We knew the guys who ran it, we trusted them, they've got a good track record, and the fact they'd already set up relationships with Munich Re Digital Partners, Great Lakes, and were part of the FCA Sandbox, just made the decision-making really simple within our organisation. In addition to the great products, the great service, these guys also bring a fabulous culture. So I've worked in a corporate organisation for 15 years. Now, the phrase up here, love progress, hate meetings, and don't do drama, that's the opposite of most of my life. We sit in meetings all day in corporate, we don't get the progress we wish, and there's always some kind of drama going on. So working with the guys over at Blink is so refreshing, and you're seeing the culture from the Blink environment actually permeate into CPP as an organisation globally. One of our big corporate challenges as a business, as it is for most like medium to large size corporate organisations, is innovation. How do you truly innovate globally whilst you've got a day job? So we tried to set up innovation departments, but they got dragged back into the normal business. There's always something going on in the insurance or an assistance-based business. So the acquisition of Blink allowed us to buy an off-the-shelf insurance business in a different country, in Ireland, that was separated from our core business in Asia and Europe. Now, that allowed us immediately to hit the ground running with new product ideas, new technology solutions, and over time, we've then gradually tried to bring those two businesses together to share culture, ideas, and concepts. And I think the last thing I would just say is it's an absolute pleasure working with a business like Blink, and it really does help to move on your organisation internally as well as with Blink. So what I want to talk about is 6 months in, how does it feel? And one of our biggest worries was that the corporate culture within our organisation would slow down the Blink team, it would limit innovation, these guys would get bored, Paul and Peter, the owners, would get bored because we put too much governance and structure around. In reality, it's the other way. The culture from Blink is really coming into CPP as a business globally. We're in a position whereby we're bringing good bits from CPP into the Blink organisation, some of the insurance background, knowledge and distribution, and some structure. And the Blink team are bringing disruption, to bring in their ethos of don't bother with meetings, just crack on, make a decision, and that ethos to keep moving, focus and goal-orientated business. And I was reflecting before this presentation of actually the value this business brings to us. This business, it's only now after 6 months that we really truly know the benefit of this business to our organisation. To say it's transformational to CPP would be an understatement. The ability to transform our technology landscape, our customer experience and our distribution is really becoming clear now to our organisation. But it has taken 6 months to get to that point. It's not just a product provider, innovation business. Every part of our business is changing after the acquisition of Blink.
So So I think some of the, again, when I talk to people and they say, well, how's it going in corporate hell? I go, it's actually great. Since we've been acquired 6 months ago, I've been in HQ once. So they're really trying to keep the startup culture separate. And, you know, when people go through that acquisition, big insurance companies have really smart people. They have all the money in the world. And really what a startup really brings to the table, I believe, is culture, is the ability to get stuff done and to challenge the norms. So every insurance company has all the money and all the people to do this stuff, but the culture, and they're just huge, massive organizations. So I look at the likes of, you know, Salesforce and Amazon, all these colossal companies who manage to innovate constantly. And how can you, as we grow as a bigger organization, how can we ensure that the innovation keeps going? You talk to any Google person, the pride in being a Google employee or a Salesforce employee or an Airbnb employee is fantastic. I rarely meet somebody who goes, I work for this insurance company and it's, you know, it's everything to me. Just doesn't seem to happen. I think it could happen. I think it's a cultural change. And that has to come from the very top of these organizations. And I'm not one of these guys that think insurance industry is terrible. I think it's fantastic. It works. And it's really, really important. And you look at the natural disasters in the States at the moment. Without insurance, you know, a lot of people will be in serious trouble. So I think it's a great industry. Culture has to change. And it's not the whole solution, but part of the solution for large organizations. And it's not about digital transformation. It's about cultural transformation. And then the digital transformation will come after that. So it's been, you know, I was saying to Sid before came up here, it's been less than a year for us. It's been an incredible year. We've learned a lot. You know, I've been around the block. I've done a lot of different things, had some successes, some failures, would be somewhat humble that, you know, we don't know everything, but you have to get alignment in the overall organization and drive ahead. So it's been great. I look forward to hearing a lot of other speakers and panels today. I think it's an incredible time for insurance right now. I think there's loads and loads of opportunities. So it's really exciting. And what else? Oh yeah, the innovation toy. That I mentioned that already. And that's really it. That's the story of Blink. And I think Sebastian and the guys have done a great job, you know, and I'm looking forward to listen to people during the day. So hopefully that was high tempo enough for Seb and to wake people up in the morning. And thanks a million. Thank you.
Cool.